Hi, I'm Lauren McMullen, and today I'm going to be talking about my own TED Talk topic relating to the making order out of disorder, what's wrong with the world category. My topic is all centered around this one quote: "You're a human, not a dog." I remember the first time I scrolled across this quote on a random Instagram page, and the meaning really stuck with me. You may be wondering where I'm going with this. Obviously, you know you're not a dog. Where I'm wanting to make my point today is relating to the topic of nutrition. Many of us reward ourselves with food, or you could even say treats. I myself know I have let food determine my mood, week, or motivate me, etc. So, what I'm trying to talk about today is how this construct of rewarding ourselves with treats can actually be a negative influence in our lives, promoting unhealthy eating, eating disorders, and other things relating to the way we view food, and even leading to people overeating when we aren't actually hungry. I'd like to preface that I don't think that there is anything wrong with treats, maybe a cake on your birthday or things like that. I'm getting at the constant rewards for how your day went, or maybe even a couple drinks after a long day. This can be completely healthy, but without monitoring, it can become unhealthy. So I wanted to ask you, but obviously I can't hear your answers now. What do you guys remember from your childhood relating to your parents rewarding you with food? Obviously, I can't hear your answers, so I asked a couple of my roommates, and each of them could think of times they either were told they could get a treat if they were behaved at the grocery store, or even candy to be quiet in church, or something like that. This is a main point I'm wanting to make. These unhealthy habits actually start when we are young. We learn to reward ourselves in ways of food from our childhood, at least many of us do. Taking this one step further, I wanted to bring it to something we might all relate to. Have you rewarded yourself with food in college? Could this be after a big test, a hard week, a breakup, etc.? Although we again cannot discuss responses, I know that at least among my friends, many of us may go get ice cream on a hard night or go out after a rough week to feel some sort of reward. This is because food provides us comfort. It's a psychological effect. So, why is this what is wrong with the world? The way I see it, according to the National Association of Anorexia Nervosa and Associated Disorders, nearly 30 million people in America have some type of eating disorder. And that is the ones that are acknowledged. Eating disorders are a common issue in our lives today, and trying to stop any kind of this in any degree could be and create a more beneficial society. The way I'm arguing that we can make a wave of change is trying to process and change why we reward kids with food from a young age. Trying to show there are better ways to reward children and not put emotional bonds to food that are deemed quote unquote bad or unhealthy foods could start ending negative relationships with food. Here's the research that I found to back this up. The first article I came upon was about young adults who use food restraint. Surveys were sent out, and grown adults were more likely to binge eat or use restrictive dieting when they remembered, as a child, having parents that used food to control their behavior. In a Somatic Scholar article from 2003, I quote, "Adults who recall parents using food to control behavior through reward and punishment were more likely to use dietary restraint, restricting food practices such as dieting, and binge eating." The second article I found was a study done to students our age. These young adults were more likely to have binge eating behaviors because an emotional response related to food and being molded for them. A Science Direct article from 2014 said 165 undergraduate students showed those who were instrumentally fed as kids were more likely to binge eat in response to negative emotions. So you're probably wondering, why is this so important? To give you the rundown, food has a different psychological effect on your brain and thus your body. Getting super deep into this would result in an entirely different TED Talk, but essentially when you eat, you can identify certain foods with happiness, sadness, etc. Going even further, these foods could begin to determine your mood. So if you feel sad, maybe you would eat ice cream to cheer yourself up. This can be okay from time to time, but if habits grow, you begin to create an unhealthy relationship with food. And that molding from childhood is what is wrong with the world. So in summary, as harsh as it sounds, I try to remember we're not dogs, we're humans. We don't need to use food as an emotional bandage, and ways to end this are creating healthier relationships with food, even from a young age. I encourage you next time you're feeling sad, bored, upset, or any range of emotions, instead of going to the fridge, find other ways to perform self-care for yourself. Whether that be a face mask, working out, playing a game, literally whatever floats your boat. I hope this made a little sense to everyone else. That's all I have today. And my last slide, this is all my references. Thanks.